So what's up? This is Jared Mirsky. We are on another episode of Rebranding Cannabis, and today we have none other than Shawn Kemp, the ReignMan. How you doing, brother?
Oh man, every day's a good day. I'm glad to be here.
This is Rebranding Cannabis. I'm your host, Jared Mirsky, and you're listening to the show that helps the industry grow. Hear from industry titans, thought leaders, and the up-and-coming founders of this multi-billion-dollar industry. Presented by Wick Mortar. Yeah, well, it's raining outside, and we're both probably used to that, huh?
Yeah, it's Seattle. It's the fall season. It's just that time. So it's about getting ready and getting prepared for a rainy, nasty fall season.
No kidding. So how are you dealing with COVID right now?
Good, man. Just try to keep your distance from people and follow protocol. I think wear a mask as most people are doing these days, and I think just be careful where you go. Limit your access to certain places.
Yep. So you're opening up a dispensary in downtown Seattle called Kemp's Cannabis, and I just went and toured this thing, and it's awesome. Tell me about that.
It's been a lot of work. I work with a lot of good people, man. They put a lot of time into it. So I think, I'm involved with Main Street Marijuana, and I think they've done a great job with helping me do business here in Seattle. Mm-hmm. We're starting up very soon, and I think we have a pretty good team together where we work together and able to make some progress.
Now, how did you meet these guys?
Well, just by contact, reaching out to me. I was looking to get into the business months ago. So this was something that happened pretty fast, pretty simple, pretty quickly. And these guys, we met and talked, got to know each other pretty well.
Yeah, they're good guys.
Yeah, definitely.
They said they've been putting the project together, or at least that space, for a couple of years.
Yeah, they've been going at it for at least over a year. So, a lot of times these things take a while to develop. So I think these guys deserve a lot of credit for their patience with working with the city of Seattle.
Yeah. Now, I guess, at what point did they approach you, or did you guys decide that, hey, we were going to call it Kemp's Cannabis? Because I think it's a great idea. It's totally nostalgic, and it's definitely what the industry needs.
Well, I think after we've talked and we met, then we came up with the idea of calling it Shawn Kemp Cannabis. Like I said, it's as far as the cannabis business itself, everything is really new to me, and I'm still learning the business. I think working with these guys who got great, true experience in the game is going to be a true education for me. So I'm just glad to partner with the right people so I can get the right education behind a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, Main Street Marijuana is the largest revenue-producing dispensary in the state of Washington, I believe. Which is impressive. And they started out of, I believe, Vancouver, right? Yeah. So when you got into cannabis, was it just because you were a consumer, or?
No, not just because I was a consumer. Actually, one of the reasons I got into the cannabis business, there was no black owners in Seattle. So hopefully, one of my things that I would like to do to the community is to be able to promote this, to be able to do this, have other people other than myself, not just African Americans, but also other people from nationalities also take a look at the cannabis business and actually get into it. So hopefully not just about Shawn Kemp getting into the business. This will be something that I can inspire people to do, entrepreneurs do business that's been doing business already.
Have you considered putting together some sort of incubator to help the various different diverse groups thrive and succeed through some sort of learning platform?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that will come after success of the store. So I think you have to take things step by step first. So I think our first job is to get this store open and to make it do well. And then from there, I think we can go to educate people, help people in the community learn about, different variations of the business.
What area of the business in cannabis are you most fascinated about?
I mean, all of it. I think when you look at the cannabis business, and one of the reasons that I got into it is so much growth. If you can see from the time that it went from illegal to legal, and even now it's 7 years later, I think you can still see it's got a lot of room to grow. So I don't think we've really touched the bases on the cannabis business. Everything is still pretty new.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I remember when I got started, it was, like 2008, and then I started my company in 2009. Mm-hmm. we were the very first cannabis-focused branding and marketing firm in the world, and I remember getting paid in, weed and cash.
Right.
And then trying to sell that weed. I was a terrible drug dealer. I talked too much.
Well, your mouth is your biggest strong point in this game.
I know, just not in drug dealing, I guess. So I love the fact that you said that, the cannabis industry definitely lacks diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's extremely unfortunate that nearly 234% of African Americans get arrested and are more likely to get arrested rather than Caucasians.
Absolutely. I've been one of those African Americans that got arrested, so I totally understand that process. And I think, it becomes an education of the business, but also it becomes a maturity of knowing what you want to do it yourself before you get into the business. Getting into the cannabis business comes with great responsibility. So, that's the first thing that you have to be able to handle. And then outside of that, I think the sky's the limit.
Well, speaking of the legal side, let's talk about, was it 2006? Texas?
2006, Houston, Texas, yeah. You're talking about the arrest, yeah. I mean, it's simple. I've only been in trouble once or twice in my life. Both came from marijuana convictions. I got arrested in Houston for having 2 joints in my car. 2 joints in Houston. They charged, and because of the grade of weed it was, they charged me with an ounce of weed. So
those are some big joints.
Those are big joints.
What do you call those, doinks?
So, it's just, like I said, it becomes such an education, man, as a young man. I think a lot of us grow up smoking pot, smoking weed, or however you want to call it or label it. And I think what we find out in life, as I did, after a couple of those convictions, you have to be very careful in what you do and how you do it. And that's before weed became legal. So even though weed is legal now, you still have to be careful. There's still a responsible way to do these things.
Well,
and that's what and more than anything, that's what I want to promote to people. I don't want to say that, weed comes across as so dirty sometimes with people in conversations and things. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a way that you can handle these things and do it in a professional sense.
Well, it's funny. You kind of bring this interesting point up, and there was a test done by a company called Tree Rolls that we work with, and they had asked this group of people that wanted to engage in business with them to produce, cigarettes versus, manufacture hemp cigarettes, and they were like, no, you should stay away from cigarettes and focus on hemp-based cigarettes. It's better for people, obviously, right. But the point is that I'm making is that the test was they asked those people to go smoke cigarettes around a group of people and then go smoke weed around a group of people to see how they would now interact with the smell.
Right.
And people who are smoking cigarettes around groups of people, they don't like that. People don't want to be around cigarette smoke. Right. But when that weed comes out, they're like, ooh, where's that coming from? Yeah. So it's a completely different time now.
Yeah, it is. It's a different time, but it still comes with great responsibility. And I think, more than anything, it's just not about people lacing up and smoking pot and weed all day, every day out in public. There's still a professional sense that you have to have behind your game of smoking and make sure that you're doing it the right way possible.
Well, what's interesting about Washington State, and you may or may not know this, but, it's illegal to smoke weed outside in public areas, right? So if I live in the city, I'm not allowed to smoke in my office. I'm not allowed to smoke in my apartment. I'm not allowed to smoke outside. Where the hell am I supposed to smoke weed? Right? So you have to be a homeowner.
Right.
And so it's just this really weird law that just doesn't make much sense. So I basically told my apartment complex, I was like, look, I know how to make sure my apartment doesn't smell like weed, or at least the hallways don't. Mm-hmm. I know the shower cap trick and the door towel trick and all that stuff, but I'm not going to not smoke weed.
Right. Well, like I said, I think it's the way that you handle it. Your apartment probably don't have a problem with that. It's probably the ones that's got the weed going down the hallway is what they're concerned about. So,
touche.
There's good ways to do this. There's bad ways to do it. You can drive down the freeway and see people smoking weed sometimes, but there's a professional way to do it. I don't know if you want to be that person, but there's definitely plenty of people out here doing it.
Is there a professional way to smoke weed in the car? I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you.
Smoke it before you get in the car.
Well, you don't smoke at all when you drive. We know that. Drive responsibly. A note from our sponsors. I don't know. I'm just joking. But seriously, okay, so let's go back a little bit. When you played for the Sonics, you played for who else?
I played for Sonics. I played for Cleveland.
Cleveland, yep.
And I also played for Portland Trailblazers. And I also played for Orlando Magic. So it's
you're a trailblazing,
supersonic. yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had good experience on both teams. Playing in Seattle. Obviously, I still live here. Seattle means a lot to me. And the people here in Seattle means a lot to me. This is where I learned how to become a millionaire at. So this is where I still live at. My wife's from here. My kids are from here. And it's a good city.
Yeah, when we first met years ago, I think it was maybe 9 years ago.
Probably close to 9.
Yeah, we met 9 years ago. It was at Oscars. I walk in there with my buddy Scott. I had no idea who you were. You're just picking up chairs, moving stuff around. And you're like, hey, what's up? I'm Shawn. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's so fucking tall. And you must have been like, oh my God, this guy's so fucking short.
That's what I said this morning. No, it was good times. The restaurant business was definitely a good experience. When I had a good experience, I was there in Queen Anne for close to 10 years, man, with the restaurant. So, I started it when the Sonics were here. And when the Sonics left, business kind of went bad. But we still did well as a business. So the community definitely missing basketball more than anything.
Was it pretty hard for you to see the Sonics go?
Definitely, definitely. Not necessarily so hard for myself, but it was hard for me to see a lot of people lose their jobs. You don't realize how many people are working inside the arena, and also the restaurants around the community and stuff like that. A lot of people, they lost a lot of money, man. They lost a lot of hope.
Did you experience much of a fall from that outside of your business? I mean,
not with me because of my name. I could do certain things that draw attention. I felt pretty good about that, but I felt really bad for the other businesses that didn't have attraction. With myself, we had attraction with being me. We just held more events with using my name. But for the rest of the restaurants there in Queen Anne, they were struggling because there was no attraction. I mean, you got to remember there's 82 NBA games. There's 41 home games. So there's 41 days that those people probably made a pretty good income. Now it goes to zero. It's all gone. So you got to have a soft spot for them.
Yeah, are you still in contact with a lot of the previous players you used to ball with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of guys, we still talk, weekly. Me and Gary Payton, Detlef Shrimp, we still stay in touch, definitely.
You guys got I don't know if you're talking to Matt Barnes. I don't know if you guys know each other or not, but if you've seen his podcast, All the Smoke.
Yeah, he's invited me to it.
You definitely should do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think I got to visit with him in like 15, 16 days. We're gonna do it. So
well, when you see him, tell him I said what's up.
I will.
Yeah, he's the homie. Yeah, he's a good dude. So when did you start smoking weed? How old were you?
I've been knowing about weed for the majority of my life. I didn't smoke it as a youngster. I didn't smoke weed or even drink alcohol until I was over the age of 20.
Me too.
I was over the age of 20, so probably a late bloomer in the game. And, the reason is where I'm from, like back in the Midwest, it was always dirt weed. Out here on the West Coast, you have actually flower weed. So.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up outside Chicago in Indiana, Elkhart, Indiana, which is about 45 minutes to an hour outside of Chicago. So used to get a lot of dirt back there. It wasn't very attractive, but once I got to Seattle, I started seeing a lot of flower, and that made a world of difference.
Now, when did you move out of Chicago?
I moved to Seattle in 1989. My first year in Seattle was in 1989.
Where'd you go to college at?
I went to University of Kentucky. I went to community college in Athens, Texas, Trinity Valley. Never played college ball, never practiced college ball, and then after my freshman year of college, then I put myself in the draft.
You were just like, Hey, I'm tall as shit.
I mean,
I can play some ball a bit.
A little bit, man. A little. I've always had a lot of confidence within myself, and I think after taking off a year of basketball, going to college.
Were people nudging you to do that, though? Or was that something you did on your own?
I did on my own.
Cool.
So, yeah, I mean, it came down, I asked 100 people. It was 99 no's and 1 yes. So I bet on myself.
That's good.
Yeah, it's always good to bet on yourself.
It is. Well, it's done really well for you.
Yeah.
So, now you got some kids.
Yeah.
How many kids you got?
I got 7.
7 kids.
Yep. All in college or graduated.
Now, I hear a lot of them are doing very, very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like father, like son. And
I mean, that's what it's for. I mean, the only thing I ask for my kids, really personally, is to do something that their dad didn't do. So that means you got to graduate college. I've did pretty much everything else. So their only responsibility was to go to school and graduate college, and they've done that. So I'm proud of them for doing that.
Do you personally think that you need college in order to be successful?
No, you don't need college to be successful, but it's not a bad tool to have.
No, what did they go to school for?
Well, it depends. One's going to school to be an attorney. One's going to school to be a doctor. My son Shawn Jr. graduated from University of Washington. He's was working at Amazon. So.
Damn, your kids smoke weed?
Only one, Shawn Jr.
Shawn Jr.
Only one.
Like father, like son. Yeah.
Like father, like son. No doubt about it.
You're pretty close with all your kids, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's the way it has to be. I mean, the great deal of fatherhood is that, some people look at the backlash of having kids, but after, for me, it was a turning point in my life because it made me become more mature. Mm-hmm. So sometimes people can look at these things and they say, oh, right, this guy had 7 kids, so this. But true fact, those 7 kids made me become really responsible. Mm-hmm. So you can't have that many kids and not be responsible. You have to be there for them every day. And, that becomes most important in your life.
Yeah, we were talking about Ricky Williams earlier, and he's got a few kids himself.
Right.
Derek and I were just at his place a couple weeks ago, and his son Prince looks just like him, spitting image. We were saying if they ever made a movie about Ricky in his younger years, they'd probably use him.
He has the same hair, same everything.
Oh, man, it's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. Do any of your kids look just like you?
Oh, yeah. Junior's, he's a bigger version of me. He's a little bigger than me.
Really?
Yeah. So,
like taller?
Taller, yeah.
Oh, what? How tall are you?
I'm 6'10", so Junior's, he's 6'11". He's a big boy, man.
I bet if I stand on that stage over there while you stand on the ground, we'll still be the same height.
I'm going to be still a little taller than you.
Oh, shit. So I kind of want to go back to when you were playing basketball. Did you smoke while you were playing?
Certain times, depends. Certain times I did, definitely. There was sometimes before the games we smoked. So just depends. It really, I think when it comes to smoking weed, it's a priority, man. It's what you feel. It's what you feel, and it's not something that you have to, but it's dependent on your feeling.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of athletes use it as a modality, right? They want to use it as a wellness or a healing product of some sort, right? But for you, was it more just? I guess what was your use for it?
Yeah, my usage was more after the games. We smoked and drink more for relaxation. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to use it for pain. I wasn't in an amount of pain or anything to play the game of basketball. Generally, it was just something that we did amongst each other, probably after games and throughout the night and stuff. But it wasn't something that we, necessarily depended on it. Like I had a certain back or a knee pain. I wasn't one of those guys.
Did you ever like, smoke strains and then, take notes as to how you felt about each of them? Some people journal, some people don't. I've just recently started doing that only because I know when I smoke this Blue Dream stuff that I get from my friends at American Hashmakers, it's always consistent. It makes me feel like I'm always in my creative zone, so I love it.
Right, and I think, certain weeds does. I have never got to the point where I'm taking notes. That's actually pretty impressive that you do that. But I think in my mind, you start to realize what strains you like and what strains you don't.
But I always feel like there's a certain way that it makes you feel like if you smoke it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is I'll just smoke one strain consistently for maybe like 3 days, and I'll try not to smoke anything else just so I can see how it is I actually feel consistently, because that'll help me determine how that works with me, because our endocannabinoid system is different for everybody.
Right. Also, and I think the reason the smoking is different for everyone too. Like, some people are trying to, not remember things. Some people trying to, be separated for things. Some people just trying to slow things down. So I think the root, everybody's rules are a little different.
Do you have any favorite strains?
Actually, like, I'm a sativa guy.
Are you?
Yeah.
Let's see. Is anything really a sativa?
Not really.
Is anything really? It's really all hybrid. It's all a hybrid, right? So let's smoke some. You want to? Which one did you like? You want to try this one?
What do you have going on over there?
Well, this is some 1937 farm stuff that I've got over here as well. But they just dropped this off yesterday. I've been smoking this American Hashmaker stuff for the last, month straight. So it might be nice to try something different for this particular moment. Sweep that up later. All right.
It's a violation. You know that, right?
What?
Smoking inside.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. There you go. I'm gonna rip the spider. We got another lighter. Nice. All right, this thing is a little tricky. Thing rips. Do you have a preferred method of smoking?
Usually paper joints.
Paper joints?
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, here. Got some Wick Mortar cones.
Put them to good use later.
There you go. So, let's kind of get back to the shop, because I want to hear a little bit more about how you intend on integrating more of the nostalgia behind the Sonics and Shawn Kemp himself as it relates to the store.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much a combination. With myself and people want basketball around here so much, being close to Queen Anne. It's a great time. It's a great time for me to do business in that particular area, simply because I think we're coming to a stage of making a big push to have the team back here in Seattle. The hockey team has now arrived in Seattle, the Cravens.
You mean the Krakens?
The Krakens.
Yep. What do you think about that, by the way?
The Kraken name is great.
I love it.
Yeah, I think they're going to do great, and I think it's great for the city.
I have a Kraken bong right there.
That's awesome.
Coincidentally, yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is a good time because they're getting their own identity now. And the arena's going to get done. So in the next couple of years, I think it'll be a strong push to the NBA to bring the Sonics back. Whether it be us go out, the city goes out and buy a team, or there be an expansion done in the draft or into the team. So
it'd be cool if the players like you and Peyton and bought them.
Right. Well, I think I will tell you this.
You guys talked about coming together.
Well, I think what you will see is when the Sonics do come back to Seattle, you'll see me, myself, and Gary and Detlef, guys like that definitely have a strong say-so in a number of things over there.
That's going to be awesome.
We'll definitely work with them for sure. We've talked about this before.
Well, I look forward to the day that happens. We all miss the Sonics a lot.
Yeah, it does. Seattle did a lot for the community. That's why I'm here. I started off here in 1989, just doing public events around the community for the Sonics. who identified me with the community, and I'm still here years later doing stuff for the community. So, I mean, it's a great community to be around and work for around here, but also we definitely miss the team. We miss the game of basketball. The kids miss that around here. You can see it in the kids because there's so many kids from Seattle who have now made it to the NBA. Those kids were generally inspired by guys as myself, Gary, Detlef, Sam Perkins. So to see a lot of kids make it into the NBA from this area, then it just tells me that we definitely need the game of basketball back around here.
Well, there's no question that you are going to be extremely successful in this venture, given the fact that you're, one of the biggest team players of them all. And the team that I met at the shop today, great guys and gals.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty part about this. It's just not about Shawn Kemp himself. It's about the team.
Yep.
It's about the team. I work with a lot of good people, man, and it's been fun to work with them so far. I'm looking forward to even working with them longer because we have a great relationship.
And it's about diversity and inclusion and social equity programs and making sure that we're all playing our part to make sure that everyone has an opportunity and a fighting chance to thrive in this industry and or business alike.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, generally in life, if you can dream it, you can achieve it.
Yep.
So, as I said before, this cannabis, this marijuana, even though it's been out for a few years and it's probably 6-7 years legal, it's still new to a lot of people. And definitely, I think people should take a closer look at it. Hopefully, I can inspire them to take a look at it business-wise to do some positive things with themselves.
What are some of the areas that you want to educate people on and around the most as it relates to you personally? Because I know that the store itself may have a much larger agenda as it relates to education because there's so many facets.
Right.
But for you personally, is there like a sweet spot for you?
No, I mean, the best spot about this store is just me being in contact with the people in Seattle. That's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy working with the people in Seattle, being in contact, meeting and greeting, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Now, when I was at the store, I noticed you had a couple NBA Jam machines.
Yeah, there you go. See? We got a couple NBA Jam machines in there, and they'll be ready for great use soon.
Well, I almost wonder, there's going to be people just lingering around that machine?
Yeah, we got to put a time limit on top of the machine,
Okay. How are you pretty good at that game?
I was pretty good at that game. We'll see in the future, but I think I am pretty good.
So I got to ask you this because, me being in branding and marketing,
right.
How did that, when that game came about, tell me how that happened and how did they integrate you and what was that experience like?
No, it was actually cool. When that game came out, the NBA Jam Machine game came out, they actually got in contact with me before it came out. So I was one of the guys who got one of the first original games. So we would actually go, we would actually play. I was actually playing in my Sonic uniform at the arena at Seattle Coliseum, and then we would actually go home and have parties, and we would be playing the NBA Jam Machine. So it was a very similar effect of men and their compassion for winning. Put it that way.
That is so cool. Now, that was how long ago did that game came out? That was Super NES.
The game had to come out, I'm going to say, in 1995, 1994.
Does that pay well? Did they pay you good for that? I mean, I have no idea.
Well, I get paid through the NBA through my licensing, so I get paid through a number of things. So jerseys, video games, but right now, a lot of it slowed down because we don't have a Seattle team. Fortunately, I'm still a pretty popular player where my jerseys and stuff will sell. But, for entitlement of as far as the city, we're struggling right now because there's only one person in Seattle that sells the Supersonic gear.
Who? Mitchell and Ness?
Mitchell and Ness.
They're a great brand.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find a jersey to buy before this to have you sign it to add to the collection, and the only ones that were available were Mitchell and Ness, and all of the Kemp's jerseys were 3 weeks out, 3. So you're a hot item right now, apparently.
Yeah, no, trust me, it's been going pretty good. I've still been signing lots and lots and lots for companies. The demand is still definitely there. I just signed 10,000 jerseys a couple days ago. So, it's that's a big deal. I mean, I'm at the age of 50. If you can still,
you look good. Black don't crack.
Hey, you said it.
Yep.
But it's going well. I think you take good care of yourself. You have good results.
Yeah. Do you still play ball? Do you eat healthy?
Yeah, I eat healthy. I keep myself in pretty decent shape.
I'm
active.
How often do you smoke a day?
How often? We're smoking every day, man.
All day, every day?
We living all day, every day. We smoking all day, every day.
That's true. It's living the high life.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you work hard to play hard.
That is very true. Now, one thing I'm curious about, given the fact that after this podcast, we're then now going on a tour to SPP, have you considered launching your own actual cannabis products?
Absolutely, and that's one of the avenues. As I say, being new to this game, I'm working with the right people, and we're taking certain steps to get there. Obviously, that's one of the things that we want to achieve eventually, but we want to go about it the right way.
I mean, just to give myself a shameless plug, if you need some help, I'd love to help you. And the reason I asked is because, one of the things that I like to generally talk about on Rebranding Cannabis is packaging.
Right.
And because packaging is so important to the cannabis industry as far as a communication tool, what are the things that you are attracted to?
Well, packaging would be one, but I think really just seeing how many different kinds of products there is, I think is a lesson for me. Whether it be wax, whether it be oil, whether it be CBD, lotion. Just seeing how many products there are is really just a learning experience for myself.
Do you have any favorite brands?
Not necessarily favorite brands yet. I think I'm going to hold off on announcing my favorite brand until I come out with one.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, there's always various strains that I like from different growers, and but sometimes it's just never consistent. And that's the unfortunate thing, because strain specificity is sometimes hard to maintain certain levels of consistency when you're growing it on such a large scale.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of work.
It does. But one of the reasons why I asked you about packaging is because some companies, they'll sell it in, Mylar bags, some will do jars, and, some will, they won't put any effort into their packaging, and they've got fire weed.
Right.
And then there's other brands that have shitty weed, but they have great packaging. Right. When I think about how packaging is introduced into, let's say, the Kemp store, perhaps the brand that you want to create, are there any considerations that you've made yet as it relates to the products that you want to create and the packaging style that you want to pursue?
Not necessarily. We haven't made it. At least I haven't made any suggestions on the packaging yet. But I think we're looking into it. I like these glasses. No doubt. I think everything should be kept in a glass. Yeah.
Well, there's this company that they've got some really cool, proprietary packaging solutions. They're called Zenpack. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they've got this really cool locking mechanism. It's like a paper stock, card stock, and you can put your joints in there. You can do vape pens, dab pens. I mean, all that stuff. And that works really well, because when you're talking about the rules and regulations as it relates to packaging, just as much as I do that, there are those rules you've got to follow.
Yeah.
So when you get into the I guess the overall branding and design, have you considered what the feeling or emotion is that you want to attach? Do you want it to be kind of like one of those nostalgic brands?
Well, I just and this is God's honest truth. I think I want to get my true education in this cannabis by going and talking to several different companies, seeing what they have to offer first.
Good.
Yeah. Before I think if I come out and I say exactly what I want, then I'm cutting myself short a little bit. I think I need to be open minded while I'm meeting these people, and then put everything together on a piece of paper and look at it at the end.
Great answer. So, other than the retail store, is there anything else that you'd like to share that you've got going on?
No, man, it's like, this is I'm going to do the same thing I've always done. I think even though this is a weed store that we're open, I'm still going to give back to the community. I'm still going to be hosting events, doing stuff for the community. That's not going to change. That's what I've been doing the whole time that I've been here in Seattle, by giving back, and I'll still give back. This is just another way that gives me another option to give back in certain ways. So
I wish there was some sort of program that we could create that could help clean Seattle's transient situation. Because there's just a lot of, and I mean clean it in a positive way that helps these people, because there's just a lot of people there that have mental health issues, and
right.
And then there's a lot of drug use, obviously, but there's, I think, clearly an opportunity to do more good to help clean the city, especially in areas where your shop is located, and also where I live.
No, I totally agree. I think that's a great idea. I mean, I'm one of the guys that walk at the park every day, every morning, and then we go through on certain days and just help clean up the park. So I'm all for setting up a program to get some of these areas started, to go through and help them get cleaned up, to pick up paper, pick up needles, pick up whatever. Because, I moved to Seattle in 1989. This was like one of the cleanest places I had ever seen in my life as far as the cities. And now I drive around the city and I see some things that make me think differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember it was called, I can't remember if it was Oregon or Colorado, but they had done this. They did this program where they gave the homeless free joints for picking up trash. I was like, brilliant. Right. But you can't do that here.
Right. The state of Washington is pretty strict on what you can do as far as just giving away product and stuff like that. Always we'll double check those laws. And
we can't do that here. I know that for sure.
I mean, I think that's a great idea.
I wish we
could. Some of these, I think some of these things could probably be contested and maybe changed eventually. But I think it's going to take some work.
Yeah, no question about that. Well, look, Shawn, it has been an absolute honor and pleasure having you on my podcast, bro.
No, man, thank you for having me.
This is great.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
You got a jersey coming.
Oh, hell yeah. And it's dope. We got to see each other again 9 years later.
It was I knew one of your workers here too, and it's been about 9 years since I've seen him. So
Mitch, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yep, yeah, he was telling me about that. That's awesome, man. Well, cool. Well, again, thanks for being on Rebranding Cannabis. Our goal on this show is really to help change the perception of cannabis on a global level, one brand at a time. And, when I look at you, you are a brand, and you are a very well-known, influential individual for a number of reasons. And I, again, couldn't be more proud to be sitting here with you, brother. So thank you again for being here.
Man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.